Welcome to our sixth virtual presentation on the 6th of May. Thought that was very funny.
It is fun.
Yeah, so I want to first and foremost thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. If you've tuned in before, thank you for continuing to hang in there and try to make put more tools in your resiliency box with us. For our new faces, welcome. So the Women's Fund does these presentations at 2 o'clock. So I'm so happy that you could join us from Dress for Success. That's so awesome. So a little bit about myself before I get started. I got my bachelor's in psychology from University of Houston Clear Lake, and I am currently in the trenches of completing my master's program for clinical mental health counseling. So healthy relationships is something that we talk about a lot. It's something that people go to therapy for a good percentage of. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So for our new faces, I'll tell you a little bit about the Women's Fund. So we are a nonprofit that talks to women and girls in the greater Houston area with any health-related topic. So we can do presentations on pretty much any aspect of health. So if you have your phone out, you can scan that little QR code. That will lead you to our webpage where you can get publications. Right now, since we're working remotely, we're not at the office to hand out publications, but you can download them to your computer if you just click that little QR code. And then you can follow us on all of our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And so for the remaining of the presentation, I'm going to take my video off just so the internet latches onto my voice and not my video. So give me one moment. All right, so the items that we will be covering today on today's agenda is what is a relationship? What types of relationships do we have? The health benefits of health relationships, and then a very crucial point is boundaries. So our team is trying very hard to make these interactive. So what we ask for you to do is if you have any questions, you can always put them in the chat box or any comments, and then I will address all the questions at the end. But what I'm trying to do for a more interactive view is for you to type in some of the answers to the questions on the chat. So if you can locate your chat, and then when I ask a question, you're going to see this little icon pop up, this little green GIF at the bottom. So when that pops up, that means that it's your turn to chime in, to give some answers, you know, give any comments, or whatever it is that you want to ask. Now, again, I will address all the questions at the end, but sometimes it's just fun to just get your question out because we might move on to another topic that you have another question about. So I am outside. So if there is any noise, like a bird or dogs barking or something that causes alarm, I'm very sorry, but I will try to just keep moving forward. All right. So see, these are some of the goals that I'm going to work on with this presentation. This is something that when you leave this presentation, this is what I want you to know. I want you to confidently define what a relationship is. I want you to list 3 components of a healthy relationship. You are also going to learn about your personal rights. You probably already know about your personal rights, but it's always fun just to talk about them again. And then we're going to identify negative traits in a relationship. Now, there is a quiz that we're going to take in the middle of this presentation. So you can take out your phone and open like your notes app, or you can grab a piece of paper and a pen and just jot down some of your responses. But I also do want to note that I do want to give a disclosure towards the end of the presentation. We are going to be talking about some topics that are distressing or that they can trigger certain memories. And that is not something that I know anyone wants to go through. So if you have to mute me or if you have to walk away, I completely understand. Some of these subjects, you know, can make us just, I don't know, make your day worse. And I really don't want to do that. I just want to bring light and show you what some of the bad side effects of relationships are. Okay. And I will remind you again when we're about to cover that topic. All right. So relationship, we hear the word everywhere. So a relationship is how you interact or with someone or how you relate to someone, right? Having people in our lives that we can count on is essential for our well-being. So sometimes the relationships don't look all happy or picture perfect. You know, it's just how you are relating or interacting with someone at that period in time. All right, so my little chat icon's up. What kind of relationships do we have? Does anyone want to chime in and let me know what kind of relationships we have? I'll open up my chat. Friendship, absolutely. Friendship is definitely one. Work is a relationship. Guardians, yes. Family, absolutely. Family is either something, a unit that you're in right now that you can't get that household away from, or you probably haven't seen some of your extended family. So absolutely, family, friends, these are all really good responses. Community connections, absolutely. Neighbors, yes, that's a good one. So just some of the ones that you've already mentioned, we have family, we have relationships with our parents or our guardians or people that were our caregivers. We have siblings. We have grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, your children, in-laws, step or half family, pets. Pets are just as important as any family member. Friends, peers, colleagues, romantic, you know, we mentioned community and neighbors. Acquaintances, we have those as well. And yeah, those are a lot of relationships. Some of us might be familiar with some of these, some of us might not necessarily have some of these relationships with certain people, but for the most part, this is a huge list to show you that we are in all sorts of relationships. So friendship, we're going to talk about this one first. We're going to talk about 3 types of relationships in this presentation. The first one I want to focus on is friendship. So a friendship is, you know, a mutual relationship in which those involved influence one another's behaviors and beliefs. So just imagine how difficult life would be if you were totally alone. You know, not even like a Facebook friend to like your comments or anything or communicate with in the world that we're in. But having a friend is very important, right? So you have someone who is there with you whenever you need to share something, or maybe someone that's not afraid to tell you the truth. And then what about someone that you have fun with? Are you guys still there? Because it says that this logged me out. I hope y'all are still there. Okay, yes. Awesome, thank you. All right, so as you can see in your life, maybe some of you have noticed that life transitions, you either make new friends or you lose them, right? Going off to college or starting a new job, you know, maybe getting married or starting to have children. You will develop new friendships because now you have something in common with other groups of people. So life transitions can either help or break some of your friendships, right? So having good relationships or good friendships, I'm sorry, boosts your self-esteem, you know, especially early and emerging adulthood. So what social baseline theory is, it's pretty much, you can think about it right now as we're facing this virus time, for instance. When all of this starts happening, your brain automatically starts to say, you know what, at least we have so-and-so that we can relate to, or at least we have our partner that is here home with us. So what it basically says is that whenever you are in a relationship with someone that you deem worthy, it makes the situations much less scary per se. So when you're faced with these threatening situations, their brains process the situation differently when faced alone compared to a close friend. All right. So just to name a few of the characteristics of relationships. So we have effective or emotional bases. Basically what that means is that refers to your friendship as the self-disclosure that you give away, or the expressions of intimacy that you give, the appreciation, the affection, the support, all based on trust, loyalty, and commitment. So you're going to hear a lot of words when it comes to these three relationships, like communication and respect. So start to take note of how similar some of your relationships are because you seek the same traits in them, right? So shared or communal nature, that means friendships reflect how friends participate in or support activities of mutual interest, right? So you might have your yoga friends, you might have your happy hour friends, right? So what is it that makes you bond? What is it that you have in common? You have sociability and compatibility dimension. It represents how friends keep us entertained and are our sources of amusement, fun, and recreation. So those social aspects of, you know, who you ask to go to happy hour with, or who you ask to go to the movies with. So these are just some of the characteristics that are traditional to relationships or friendships. I'm so sorry. So now we are in a different stage. Some people say that some of their closest friendships are through social media, or maybe our face-to-face friend that we met in high school now is a greater friend because now you can connect with them on different platforms. So what this means is people that make these friendships online have to do with, one, reputation. So where do you know this person from? Like, what do you remember about this person? I was making a comment with a friend that sometimes, I don't know if Facebook does it anymore, but sometimes the way that you added your friends in Facebook was through the different life phases that you went through, right? So maybe you were in college and you added all these friends here, and then you started your new job. And so then you started adding a whole bunch of other friends. So where do you make your friends? What is the reputation of that friend that you have just made online? Performance. So that means, like, for instance, when you start revealing details about yourself. So when you start giving self-disclosure, when you start saying, oh yeah, I went to so-and-so college, or oh yeah, I know that person too. So that's what performance means. Number three, what pre-commitment means is kind of like the groups that you make online, right? So sometimes we're a part of like a quilting group or a gaming group, maybe a traveling or gardening group. This is kind of a pre-commitment that you're making, like, hey, we have these common interests. Now, do I want to continue making the relationship more intimate? Intimate doesn't always mean romantic. Intimate just means how much you share with someone. And then the last one, situational factors. This is like the incentive that you get. This is how much you disclose, how deep you go into who you are and what you reveal to this person. So situational factors. All right, so most of my presentation is little videos. They're about 5 or 6 seconds. So I'm gonna play the video, and then at the end, you tell me what quality or what characteristic you saw these little cartoons portraying. All right.
Want to hang out later? Me and my boyfriend always have Monday fun day. Aww. Want to hang out later? Me and my boyfriend always have Monday fun day. Tomorrow? It's our Tuesday snooze day. Wednesday? No friends day.
Do we have any of our friends that do that? That disappear? What kind of characteristic or quality do you think that was? I'll play it one more time.
Want to hang out later? Me and my boyfriend always have Monday fun day. Aww. Want to hang out later? Me and my boyfriend always have Monday fun day. Tomorrow? It's our Tuesday snooze day. Wednesday? No friends day.
Yes, yes. Avoidance, or maybe attachment, maybe dependence, right? So sometimes we come across people in our lives that when they start a relationship, they disappear because, you know, they're infatuated and they want to spend all this time together, and then they just disappear. So isolation is actually the perfect answer, because that is the answer. But what I wanted to focus a little bit on was that friend. Like, hey, I'm still your friend. We have to remember that our friends are still there before and after relationships. Now, some romantic relationships might break friendships, but you are the one that gets to make that decision, right? Is this friend benefiting you, or is this friend hurting you? I have to spend more time with my boyfriend, right? So sometimes we have to remember that our friends should be a priority too. All right. So this brings us into the second type of relationship that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about our professional relationships, our colleagues and coworkers, the ones that sometimes we do end up spending more time with them than we do our actual household. Now, that might be a little bit opposite right now, but while different relationships have different components, most of them share common components. So we said that earlier. So these three words are particularly what is going to keep coming out in all aspects of relationships. You always want communication. You always want that mutual respect from someone. And that you always want to create boundaries, healthy boundaries within all your relationships. So this is just a little image that I found. You know, sometimes we feel that certain things are our job, but you have to remind yourself that it is not your job. It is not your job to fix everyone or listen to everyone's problems and say, I have a solution for you. No, but it is okay to listen, right? So being liked, not everyone's going to like you. You're going to encounter people in your life that just don't go with your vibe, that just don't like you, and it's okay. It's not your job to do it all. You don't have to hold everyone's hand and say, this is all that we're doing. We have to do this. You have to know that you are doing the best that you can. It is not your job to please everyone. You do have to make sure that your job is getting done and your work's getting delivered, but you don't have to please everyone. And then it's also not your job to hold it together for everyone, right? It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay for us to take just mental break days. It's not your job to have it together all the time. And I love the list of the things that are your job. You are supposed to love people. You should be authentic with everyone. You know, you do want to take the initiative sometimes and take the next step or speak your truth, and just remember to breathe. You know, your job, guess what, when you go to bed, maybe you might not be able to go to bed because of your job, but when you wake up the next day, your job is still going to be there, or your coworkers will still be there. You have to make sure that you bring your best foot forward. All right, so colleague conflict. Again, this is another thing that's inevitable. Conflict, whether it be with your family or whether it be in the workplace. So you have to remember that teams have the same goals. Your organization wants and expects the same things, right? You want the numbers to look good. You want everyone to be delivering and to be performing well. So pretty much you and your company have and expect the same things. Speaking up, remembering I statements. So we are going to dive deep into communication next week, but I statements is a simple summary of I feel that, oh, someone asked something real quick. What does it mean to take the next step? I'll go back if it'll let me go back. So taking the next step means that it's kind of like this. If there's a conflict, what is the next step? What is a resolution? What is it that can take your team to its goals and to its objectives? What is it that taking the next step will help you achieve what it is that you need to achieve? Does that make sense, Adrian? Because I see that it says, what does the next step mean? All right, well, I'm gonna move on just for time's sake.
Yes, thank you.
You got it?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. So what I statements mean is, a perfect phrase is, I feel embarrassed when you don't include me in those emails, or I feel not listened to, or you are starting off with the word I because you are responsible, setting the responsibility for your emotions, right? So if you start attacking someone like, oh, you never send me those emails, or you never show up on time, or you, someone's going to feel attacked, right? Someone's going to be on their defense mode and they're not going to actually listen to what you have to say. Excuse me. You also have to respect each other's right to say no, right? No, sometimes what you don't want to hear in the workplace, but if you're bombarded with things, it's okay to say no, or it's okay to say, all of my attention is on this right now. I will gladly address this issue, but let me focus on this first. So as a colleague, you have to respect people's time and then know how to listen. We'll talk again a little bit more about this on next week's presentation, but there's a reason why we have 2 ears and then just 1 mouth, right? We have to listen sometimes. Maybe what your coworker's trying to tell you is that they're overwhelmed with something, but they're not saying it correctly. So just knowing how to listen and being there for that person is what's really important. All right, so here's another quick video. Then you guys let me know what it is that you see.
Wanna hang out?
I gotta study.
You'll get an A anyway. A for amazing. Wanna hang out?
I gotta study.
You'll get an F anyway. F for stupid.
Now, no coworker will do that, hopefully, ever. No one's ever going to be that mean to you. But what this ties into, what this quick little video shows, is improper communication, right? So why did that person get so upset so fast? Was it the other employee's fault? You know, it also goes back to that mutual respect. You know, sometimes we have to make sure that we're respecting people's tasks and timelines and just their right to say no. This person didn't want to hang out after work. What did you guys see in that video? That if you say this, it shuts the, what if you say this, the other party shuts down? Is that, Eileen, is that in reference to this video? Is that something I can address later? Okay. Okay. Right, so not feeling heard, right? Taking time. The person, the coworker, was not being supportive of their time. Absolutely. All right. So we're gonna dive into family functions. So I won't even start. I'm just going to go ahead and stick with my script. So in order for you to have a healthy recipe with your family, honesty is important, right? No lying, no games, you know, board games are fine. You're probably doing a lot of board games right now, but lying it just doesn't end well. Now, some of you might have been married for 30 years and little white lies like, oh, I didn't go to Target earlier, might slide. But I'm talking about big lies. I'm talking about, when your kids say they're going to school and they're not going to school. Things like that will catch up to you, right? So you always want to be honest and upfront with your family. You also want to be supportive. You want to offer reassurance and encourage them, right? You can do this. We will get over this, or we will get through this together. Offer the fact that you'll be there, anything that you need. If you need me to step out for the Zoom meeting for an hour, yes, I'll go lock myself in a room, right? So just being thoughtful and supportive towards your family. Compromising. Disagreements are healthy. They're always going to happen. I have not met one family ever that just was perfect. They might look like they are, but you don't know what's going on in people's household, right? So disagreements are healthy. And then resolve conflicts in a fair and rational way, right? So sure, not everyone gets to pick their favorite meal every night. Just so compromising. Hey, you'll have Monday night, you'll have Tuesday night. So just learning what works for your family and what doesn't, right? So for my visual people, look at this family. It looks beautiful. The baby's smiling. Everyone's looking at the camera. Everyone looks genuine. Yeah, that's probably what you're going to see on social media. But let's be real really quickly. This is probably what a typical household looks about every hour, right? Or you have company over and the kids are fighting. That's common. Or the kids are having a great time outside and someone comes to ruin it. These are all things that are completely normal. Or when your parents are fighting, right? So these are more of realistic things that happen in families, and it's okay. So how do we build them to be healthier? How do we take the next step, the initiative? What is it that we should do to have a healthy family unit? So sharing really is caring. This is not something that you have to do with your sibling all the time. You want to share your goals and priorities. Your family can help you get there, right? If you have a certain goal, your family is going to want you to do well. So they're going to help you with your priorities. Resources, right? You don't know who your brother knows, or you don't know that your mom's coworker's friend is the person that you need to talk to, right? So you don't know that your family has all these resources for you unless you share. And then it brings a lasting commitment to show your family, hey, I am here for you, and I'm glad that you're telling me all these things. Let's do this as a family, and let's keep sharing. Time priorities. Share your time. Share your time wisely. Being in a living room during movie time and everyone being on their phone is not really a time priority. You're not really sharing time. The sharing time comes when you are genuine in watching a movie and spending that quality time. Like, wow, that was a really good movie, and I'm glad I was able to watch it with my mom or my sister. So showing affection, showing appreciation, showing responsibility, and problem solving, right? Sometimes we become so robotic in our routines, and okay, so you're gonna load the dishwasher and I'm gonna cook, right? It's okay to take time out of your day and say, hey, I really appreciate you doing that. Or, hey, do you want me to do it, or do you want to switch things up? Just because someone is not saying it because they're so used to it doesn't mean that they actually like it. They might just do it just because they think that they have to do it. And then problem solving. Again, in any relationship, you're always going to encounter some sort of problem. So how are you going to solve it? What are your own conflict resolution skills? Do you need time to cool off, or do you want to talk about it right away? So finding that niche, or finding that that common ground, like, okay, I'm just going to let you cool off for about an hour, but we need to talk about this issue. All right, so we're going to play another quick video.
Show us more photos. Sweet.
Aw, you're showing them my foodie pics.
Show us more photos. Sweet.
What? You're showing them my booty pics?
So again, some of these videos are meant for like partner relationships, but let's be real. Sometimes we share some photos with our siblings or our parents, and then they go around broadcasting it to everyone, right? So what quality or characteristic do you see in this little video? I'll play it one more time just because it takes a couple of seconds anyway.
Show us more photos. Sweet.
Aw, you're showing them my foodie pics.
Show us more photos. Sweet.
What? You're showing them my booty pics?
Yes, whoever Nokia 3.1 Plus is, absolutely, it's respecting boundaries. So in the second segment, the person is disrespecting the original person's photos, right? So sometimes someone will share something intimate with you, or just as a sibling, like, hey, how does my legs look in this dress? Or they just want your opinion. So it's disrespecting those boundaries. It's like, you're my sibling. I don't want you sharing that with all of your friends. So as much as it's common sense is not common. So sometimes we do have to have those kind of conversations and say, hey, like, I'm only sending you this. Do not go blast it everywhere. Hi, Miss Pittman from On Time Grad. Thank you for being on. All right, so we're going to move forward to romantic relationships. So I usually really like doing this presentation with my adolescents because they have so much tea to spill on all of their boyfriends and girlfriends, and who did what, who is dating when, what they're looking for, blah, blah, blah. So this is something that I actually hear a lot from our adolescents. So just really quickly, just for one moment, what qualities do you look for in a partner? You don't have to put it in the chat. You can if you want to, but just like maybe 3 or 4 qualities that you look for in a partner. Did I put a little chat icon? I think I did. Humor, yes. A good listener. Open-minded, absolutely. These are qualities that are important to you. Or this is what you look for in a romantic relationship. Eileen, I will address your question at the end just so I can get through this content, but I do see it. And then respectful, yes, you always want your partner to respect you and your goals and what you want to accomplish. Absolutely. Again, open-minded, humor, good listener. These are all great qualities. So here are some that I hear across the board, all ages, all sorts of places, all throughout Houston, pretty common to everyone. Being loyal, you know, trustworthy, someone that can forgive you, a sense of commitment, maybe a sense of humor, having things in common, appearance. You know, not everyone just looks on the inside. Sometimes you want to make sure your partner is attractive. So then this brings the next question. What qualities do you bring in a relationship? Again, you can just think these in your head. These can be questions that you're just asking yourself, or you can share with us in the chat. But when you look at yourself, what qualities do you bring in a relationship? We're quick to say, oh, this is what I want. But what about you? What do? You probably bring a lot of great qualities in a relationship. Yeah, a lot of times you want the same quality, the qualities that you want is probably what you give off. Absolutely. You're honest and thoughtful. I don't know if there's any guys watching, but my opinion is I think that sometimes women are much more thoughtful. Now, of course, there are thoughtful men, but yes, absolutely. Being thoughtful is very important. All right, so am I a good partner? This is going to be the quiz that I asked you earlier. So if you want to take out your phone and just open up your notes app or open somewhere where you can just write yes or no, I'm going to go down these questions, or you can write them down like in a sticky pad, or if you have a pen or pencil around. This is a really good tool that I like to use, and it's about 20 something questions. All right, so I'll give you just a moment to gather what you need. All right, so question number 1 is, do I forget to thank my partner when they do something nice for me? Yes or no? Do I ignore my partner's calls if I don't feel like talking? Do I get jealous when my partner makes a new friend? Do I have trouble making time to listen to my partner when something is bothering me? Do I discourage my partner from trying something new, like joining a club? Do I call, text, or drive by my partner's house a lot? Do I get upset when my partner wants to hang out with friends or family? Do I make fun of my partner or call them names? Do I criticize my partner for their taste in music or clothing or hobbies or any of? Do I make fun of my partner's appearance? Do I accuse my partner of flirting or cheating on me, even if I'm not really sure what's going on? Do I take out my frustrations on my partner, like snapping at them or giving them attitude? Do I throw things if I'm mad at my partner, or do things like hit the walls or drive dangerously? Do I read my partner's texts or go through their personal things like their wallet or their purse? Do I tell my partner they are the reason for my bad mood, even if they clearly aren't? Do I try to make my partner feel guilty about the things that they have literally no control over? Do I sometimes say things to my partner knowing that they are hurtful? Do I talk down to or embarrass my partner in front of others? Do I make or encourage my partner to do things sexually that I know they don't want to do? All right, so jotting down your answers, just yes or no. We're going to do scoring. So give yourself 1 point for every yes you answered. Questions 1 through 4, and 5 points for all the yes answers to numbers 5 through 12. And then don't give yourself any points for any of the no. So again, I know doing math's not always fun, but again, just give yourself 1 point for every yes he answered to questions 1 through 4, and then 5 points for all the yes answers to numbers 5 through 12. Yes, I can definitely go back. Oh, I think, no. Give you about 1 more minute. Hopefully I gave you enough time. So again, 1 point for every yes, questions 1 through 4, and then 5 points for all the yes answers to numbers 5 through 12. I know there's about like 20 of questions, but this is how the scoring is going to go. So now that you're finished and have your score, the next step is to find out what it means. So just simply take your total and we're going to see which category applies to you. All right, so if you got 0 points, congratulations. I am now going to stop sharing my screen and give you the screen because you are just the best partner. You know, and every in and out of a relationship. So congratulations. I'm only joking, but it sounds like you were very mindful of your actions and respectful of your partner's feelings. These are building blocks of a healthy relationship. Now, sometimes I know that it can be occasional. Maybe to some of those questions, you could have been like, yeah, no, or depends, or what kind of mood I was in. But overall, if you scored 0 points, then you are the partner of the year. You can let your partner know that. So as long as you and your partner continue like this, your relationship should grow in a healthy direction. All right, so if you scored 1 or 2 points, there may be a couple of things in your relationship that could use a little attention. I know nobody is perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect relationship, but just some things to be mindful about. You know, we might be stressed out and take it out on our partner and not even mean to do it. So it just really depends. I'm so sorry. Remember that communication is key to building a healthy relationship. Now, if you scored 3 or 4 points, it's possible that some of your actions may hurt your partner and your relationship. Maybe your partner doesn't even know it either. While the behaviors may not be abusive, they can worsen over time if you don't make steps in changing that behavior. And then finally, if you scored 5 or more points, some of your actions may be borderline abusive. Again, you may not realize it. You might not be doing it on purpose. You might not be doing it with intention, but these behaviors are damaging, right? So the first step to improving your relationship is becoming aware of your unhealthy actions and admitting that they are wrong. Some of us might struggle with apologizing, but recognizing is always a first crucial step. It's important to take responsibility for the problem and get help to end it. Now, even in the healthiest of relationships, there is nothing wrong with seeking counseling, ever. Mental health professionals are there to help you. They are not there to hurt you. So getting help with some of these things can create wonderful benefits, not for your relationship, but for you. So an unhealthy pattern is hard to change. So chat with a professional or for more information on how to get help, or a friend, but mostly a professional. All right, so in concluding that quiz, I'm gonna have to move rather quickly. I know I speak very fast and I know there's a lot of interactions here, but I'm going to move just a tad bit quicker. So every single recipe for a healthy relationship, the main ingredient is you. You are the one that's in charge of your emotions. You cannot blame someone else for making you feel that way because you are in control of your thoughts and your actions. Sure, your partner might say something to aggravate you, but the quicker you can say, hey, I really didn't appreciate that comment, instead of, oh, you always do this, or you always make me feel like this, the faster you can get on that road to having healthy boundaries and a healthy communication throughout that relationship. Qualities. You have to remember the qualities that you bring. Give yourself that pep talk and remind yourself of the qualities that you bring to the table. You can tell yourself things like, I am a great partner because I blah, blah, blah. I'm a great partner because I cook. I'm a great partner because I respect my partner's views. You know, X, Y, and Z. So how are you doing in this relationship? are your needs being met? And then we are going to go over very quickly over your rights. You probably already know these rights, but I don't want you to ever lose yourself in a relationship. You have to remember that in a relationship, it takes two to tango. It's you as an individual and another as an individual, and together you are still two individuals, right? So you can always have the opportunity to say, you know what, as a partner, this is my right. So these are some of the rights that you have. I can always email these to you since we're running out of time and can't discuss them, but you have a right to all of these things. You have a right to say no, to feel safe, to decide who you want to date, who you're going to hang out with. You have the right to end the relationship that isn't healthy for you. So I'm going to fly through these little videos and hopefully I can get to questions.
Want to come over tonight?
I got plans, but maybe tomorrow?
Sure thing. Want to come over tonight?
I got plans.
You will come over.
No, I won't.
You will.
I won't.
You will.
That is anger. That person's very angry. Oh no. My PowerPoint just stopped working. Views and goals, criticize the way that you look, when they get angry that you don't drop everything, they ever try to force you to do anything. So abuse has to do with power. It's a power control. Someone wants to dominate their power and control over you. So when someone starts to get abusive, it can be either physical or emotional. It could be any form of violence. It could be hitting, punching, pulling, killing, kicking and pushing. And then emotional is teasing, bullying, humiliating, threats, intimidation, put downs, and betrayal. Sexual abuse can happen to anyone. I want to take notes on that. Yes. Was it the warning signs one or the emotional and abusive, Eileen? The warning. Okay. I'm so sorry that I ran out of time. As you can tell, healthy relationships is one of my favorite topics, so I just go off and off. No problem. And again, these presentations are going to be up on our YouTube and our website. All right. So sexual abuse can happen to anyone. Boy or girl, doesn't matter. It can happen to anyone. And you have to remember that you have to believe the victim. You have to break the silence. We have to do something about it. I'm not even going to talk about the public health issue on dating violence because I just don't have another hour to go into it. But here is the abuse wheel. Like I said, power control is where some of these toxic abusive relationships come from. It's a quick Google search if you can't take notes on this, but you can just put abusive relationship wheel and it'll take you here. So relationships are on a spectrum, right? You can be healthy one day and then the next day you have a bad day or the other day they have a bad day. You can do some unhealthy qualities, but you never want to get to the abusive state, right? So going back and forth between healthy and unhealthy, it's okay, but when it's like borderline abusive, when it's the mistreating, the hurting, the forcing, those are things that you should not be okay with. So remember that we talked about earlier, it's important to evaluate the relationship you have with yourself. This is the most important relationship that you can ever have, is you, right? Would you speak to someone else the way that you speak about yourself, right? We're always that loving mother, that nurturing friend, but you have to make sure that the relationship you have with yourself is so important. It's so crucial, right? So, yay, class recap. I am so sorry. I tried to go as fast as I could. But again, these these presentations will be available for you. So how you interact with someone, that's what a relationship is. Again, it's a spectrum. It can go from healthy to unhealthy, but you can always set goals to make it healthy. So you wear many hats. You are a mother, a coworker, a child. You are so many things in a relationship, and those can all be different. But tune in to what's most important to you and showcase that throughout all your relationships. Again, putting yourself first, you will be the best version of yourself for all of your relationships. So I cannot stress that you and the relationship you have with yourself is crucial. Again, thank you so much. I know that I rambled on and I had to quickly go through, but here is a link for our survey. And if you have any questions or comments, I would love to hang around. And if you have any questions I can answer, if you have the time, I'll stick around and answer them for you. But if you want to scan that QR code really quickly for our